Right, I know this is meant to be the beginning of the video, but you join me in Dublin on the ferry, and the reason being because the first video that I recorded of me leaving the house and being ever so excited about the journey has either disappeared or I've accidentally deleted it. So, Birmingham to Belfast, what a journey. Stick around for the ride. So, 1 mile in, the first stop, fuel. I'm going to absolutely brim the tank. It's going to be very interesting to see how far this will go on a single tank. Obviously the conditions are such that I should get a good fuel run here because it is not the conditions for having a faff by any stretch. Right, oh, there we go, neutral, look, fantastic. Oh, I'll tell you what, getting on and off is a little harder with a full and heavy backpack on. Centre stand so I can brim it. There we go. Right. Let's do this. There we go. So yeah, 168 miles. It's actually 200 miles. I'm going to deviate from this route when we get into just that bit before. I'll put it up on the map in the top right hand corner there. That bit before Holyhead. I'm going to do the coastal route there, which adds about another 30 something miles on. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully the conditions will have improved slightly by the time I get there, but who knows. Megan had a MRI, a 3-monthly brain MRI yesterday, so we're a bit anxiously awaiting the results of that, which is just sort of the cycle of our lives now, in these sort of 3-month chunks. So this bike ride will certainly help relieve some of that stress, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her when I get there. It's just a shame about the bloody weather. I'm over in Ireland for about 10 days, and during that time I'm doing a Go West orchestral show in Dublin at the arena. I can't remember the name of the arena, but I will put it up on the screen. I won't ride down to that, I'll drive because I've got a guitar and pedals that are already in Ireland that I will take down from Belfast to Dublin. But we've got a rehearsal with the orchestra the day before, and then the show. And then I'm obviously doing the long ride back as well. Which, again, hopefully the weather's improved for that. Right, how much can I brim this thing? Obviously I would never brim it like this if I wasn't going to suddenly do 200 miles on it. Right, come on. There we go, look at that. Right. 14 quid. Job's a good one. Right, I'm going to go in and pay. I am probably going to put my balaclavas on to warm up a little bit. And I'll get the first motorway out the way. First stretch of motorway out the way. And then I will liaise with you later on in the trip. Do you know, I was preparing for 15, 16, perhaps even 18 degrees. I was thinking potentially hybrid between summer kit and a bit of warm bottoms on, and no, it is 6 degrees. Oh, just my luck. And my father-in-law messaged me yesterday to say, get over here safe on your bike, there's weather warnings over here. I was like, brilliant, that's worked out. Never a dull moment. We're just going to come past Fort Dunlop here, on the way up past central Birmingham, which will be to the east of us here. It's not the best area of the country, this little bit of it anyway. It's quite heavy. heavy crosswinds, you know. It's funny, this bike's so stable that I don't actually feel it that much on the bike. I just feel it in my head and my neck, because I've got a peaked helmet on. The peak, I think, catches a bit of the wind, and you feel your head want to pull over. Let's crack on. Not even half an hour in, and we're in solid traffic. I've got a very heavy backpack on, and my bike's fully loaded, so my filtering is going to be less turbo than it usually is. Just leave a lot more margin. But yeah, this is why I've left so much time, because I'm definitely going to want to stop a couple of times. But also, the traffic, just especially coming up this side of Birmingham, is just rubbish all the time. Ooh. Get in where he can definitely see me, which is there. Yeah, he's got me, right. It's going to be a long trip if it's a lot of this. Joining my mother's least favourite road in the world, the M6. And if it's like this so far, it's living up to the reputation she gives it, which is bloody horrible. She also had an accident on there years ago, I think, where something fell off the back of the lorry and hit her car, which thankfully she was fine. But that would be quite a lot worse if it were to happen to me in this current scenario. So let's not think of that. Tell you what, these heated grips are an absolute godsend. I've got my sort of sportier gloves on, which was probably a mistake at this point, but I've got my winter gloves in my bag, so at my first stop I might well change them over. I've just brought spare everything nearly, because if I get absolutely soaked on this leg, I don't want to sit on the ferry sopping wet and then get back on the bike drenched, you know. So yeah, lots of spare stuff, always a winner. The dreaded M6, let's go. Gotta be honest, it does look like we're heading into quite heavy rain. But that's the whole point of adventure bikes with all the adventure kit. I don't ever want to be just one of those Starbucks GS guys, you know. Ride it in the rain, ride it in the cold, don't fall off. That's my mantra, I think. Yes, clouds are getting increasingly dark. The specs on the visor, I don't know what the camera's looking like, but the moment the oncoming traffic have all their wipers on is the moment you've got to brace yourself for a drenching. Just pulled off onto the M54, so we're taking a sort of cut rather than going M6 all the way up to Liverpool and across. Just going to go via Shrewsbury-ish, I think. That does seem to have bypassed that crap weather over there, so that is already a massive bonus. Because look, clear skies ahead. Onto country roads already. It's took me off the motorway. I'm nowhere near Wales yet. If I'm honest with you, I'm on the A41. I'm not completely sure where I am. Still got you can add 20 miles onto that because of the detour I'm going to do there, so I've probably still got 150 miles to go. It's just such a shame about the weather. The weather's been so stunning, and it's so not. Every time I go over a big bump, my power port's a bit on the blink, so my sat-nav turns off, which is irritating. But it's not the end of the world. Worst case, I've got a power bank in my tank bag, and I can just power the sat-nav off that. is one of the problems of the modern sat-nav era, is you don't need to know where you are, or particularly where you're going, other than your destination. I've never driven or ridden in the pre-sat-nav era, but I know from some older musician friends of mine, that they're sort of going to play a stately home for a wedding on a Saturday night kind of gig. Back in the early 90s, it used to be a proper ordeal, like A to Z and a torch, and getting there was one thing, you know, after the gig, and then getting home in the middle of the night was another. Whereas there's been some gigs where you're just on autopilot, where I've programmed in the sat-nav and it's just took me there, that if you confiscated my phone and my car sat-nav didn't work or whatever, I'd almost not know whether to turn left or right out of the gate. Just no idea. Which is a shame, really. I'm sort of noticing that on this trip. Obviously I'm on these country roads now. I know I'm nowhere near Wales yet, but without stopping and properly having a look, I don't really know where I am. But I do know I've got 150 miles to go. Oh, whatever that said. Chetwynd? Is that the pronunciation? I'm on the Newport bypass. Here we go. The village of Woodcote. Go back to the old-fashioned way of just looking at the signposts. Makes sense, doesn't it? I have to say, I had a stunning breakfast this morning. Homemade sourdough, made lovingly by my mum. Bit of hummus on that, sourdough toast. Then some chicken thighs that were cooked up a bit earlier in the week. And then 2 chucky boiled eggs. I'll put some pictures on here. I thought that would set me right up for a long cold day on the bike, and so far I am toasty enough. I've probably got the wrong gloves on, but that is not the fault of my breakfast. But it was absolutely stunning, and that will keep me going. I think I've got a... Look at that, can you see the oil spilt on the road? So on a car you could easily just slightly ignore that really in conditions like this, and when you're going slowly and driving carefully, but on a bike you really can't. Can you see the oil? I'm on it now actually. Oh dear. Just keep the bike upright and straight. Terrible. Look at that. Right. Oh, there does actually seem to be a road cleaner there to try and clean it, because that is treacherous. Just riding into Hinstock here, and the weather is definitely closing in. I've just felt, I've not checked, but it feels like it's... Oh, the temperature's actually not dropped. Well, maybe the bike's not read it yet. It definitely felt like it's dropped a degree or two over a quite short period there, which is usually a bit of an indication that the weather's coming in. The one thing, I know I'm going to be absolutely knackered when I get there tonight, because the one thing I will say is your concentration level riding in these conditions with a fully laden, very top heavy bike with a full tank bag is any uneven surface or slightly slippery thing, and it's just so much inertia in these bikes that you just won't catch it if it wants to go over. So you sort of you can't relax in the same way as you can on summer rides where you can just rely on the tarmac to look after you. So it's gonna be a long day, I think. But at least tomorrow, all of tomorrow's riding, I don't have tank bag or any of the big kit on, so the bike will be a lot lighter, and I'll have had a bath and a nice night's sleep and be fresh and ready to go. 140 miles still to go. Doing some lovely flowing twisties now. Again, there's mud on the road and all sorts, so it's certainly not a throw the bike around kind of day, but this bike just feels so assured on these kind of flowy sections. On more of the sort of super point and shoot kind of sharp hairpin turns and then power out, it's not in the configuration to do that properly today with all the weight on it, but it's usually not too bad at that. But on the flowy stuff, it just feels so smooth and assured, and you don't really have to fight with it, just have to sort of politely ask it to go, and it's just quite unfatiguing, which on a day like today is a really good thing. I've sent my live location to a few of my biker friends to keep following, and my mate Damien, big shout out to Damien, he's the ultimate monitor engineer for Go West, but I mean, that's sort of, you know, that's a footnote on what he's usually doing. He's doing, you know, front of house for Megadeth, among other huge rock and roll things. It's a big shout out to Damien, he's just messaged me there saying he's going the Chester route, which it does appear to be where my sat-nav's taking me. And I bet these roads on a really baking summer's day would be absolutely stunning. Not that they're not today. Well, this is a bit more like it, isn't it? Clearer sky. Approaching the village of Broxton, and do you know what? We're also approaching the 2 hour mark on the bike, so I am at the next viable stop. I will get off and stretch my legs and have a cup of tea, I think. Oh, learner bikers, I think. So green, beautiful. Yeah, I think a cup of peppermint tea is in order actually. The traffic's been considerably busier than I thought it would be. Properly off the beaten track here, still 110 miles to go. So, the sat-nav has properly taken me on a bit of a wild one here, which is fantastic, because you never really know which way Google Maps is gonna take you. And I don't use any of these new fangled biker software where you plan sort of a turbo route or whatever. I haven't yet got into that. I probably should. Yeah, I just type in where I'm going. I know where the detour is when I join that last kind of landmassy bit before Holyhead. I'll post a picture again up there, and I'll go round rather than straight, but that is sort of my only criteria for this route really. Down to a 20. So we're coming up to the North Wales Expressway. This is the business end of the journey now, hopefully, although that last stretch has been really lovely, other than sort of weaving in and out of traffic and dodging leafy, muddy bits in the middle of the road, which is never that fun. I'm going to get on this North Wales Expressway, the A55, and then at the first opportunity I am going to stop and get a drink. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. I have heard of that place. There you go, look at that. I'm hoping to find a cafe or something to just sit in, somewhere ideally near a plug socket, because one thing I'm noticing, I only use this remote here that I'm pointing at just to trigger the camera off and on, but the other features it comes with are like GPS overlays and all the sort of stuff that it can embed into the file, and of course it's therefore running its GPS position all the time, which drains the battery, so the remote doesn't actually last anywhere near as long as you'd hope for, because obviously when I'm snoozing the camera for prolonged periods, the remote's still on and still buzzing away with its GPS reception. So I'm I'm going to see if I can find a way to turn that off. I don't know if you can, because for what I need it for, I just need it to have a connection with the camera to turn it off and on, really. I've got to say, I do love the smell of bike when it warms up. I used to do a lot of go-karting as a kid, and it smells like that. It's just such a comfy, nostalgic, warm memory feeling, the sort of hot oil engine smell. It's a nice stretch, isn't it? Just love how effortless the acceleration is on this bike. I mean, I've never done a absolute end stop, first gear up to top gear kind of acceleration, but you don't need to. Just any gear pulls lovely. More than enough power to get you in and out of trouble. So how long are we on here for then? The Mustang in kind of British racing green there, nice. So much time, I'm going to set it to 65 and get my fuel economy back on track after some point and squirt vibes back there. Okay, we're on it for 10 miles and then we keep on here, so I'll keep you posted. Just passing Wrexham here on the left of us, so to the south of us, over there somewhere, which is of course Ryan Reynolds' team that they did that. Was it Netflix or Amazon or whoever did that documentary on? So that is just over there somewhere. Right, this is the services, I believe, and gateway services. So the gateway to North Wales. I've done a lot of South Wales, both driving and gigging and riding, but I've not done North Wales at all, so we shall see. And thankfully the weather does seem to have given us a bit of respite. Oh, look at the dog in the back. How lovely is that? Right, cup of tea time. Charge this remote, charge my camera for half an hour, and then we'll get back on the move. Definitely wanted to go up there, didn't I? So we'll go up here instead. OK Diner, not seen one of them for a very long time. There used to be one not too far from where we lived. It looks properly shut, doesn't it? Let's do the Starbucks. We got somewhere part of the bike where I can see it. Yes, we have. Here we go. How many times to get neutral? Let's have a guess. I'm going to say 2. Oh, 1. Yeah, there we go. Down we go. Oh! My lock's still on there. That's good. Let's turn her off. Right. Let's go and get a cup of tea. Right, so we're back on the road. That peppermint tea was just what I needed. Oh, refreshing. Quick pee, back on the road. Charged my bits and bobs up for half an hour. Had a little sit, stretched my legs. And now we're back on the road. What's wicked is I've got a Go West gig in Dublin over the time that we're in Ireland, so I can still tenuously saying that I am biking to work, which which is pretty cool. Very, very lucky that Megan flew last night, and she flew with a guitar and a pedal board of mine, which of course gives me the opportunity to ride over, so that was very, very kind of her. As I said earlier, we had her MRI scan yesterday, so it's a little bit of a tense time. Obviously, after her brain cancer treatment, she is scanned every 3 months for any signs of reoccurrence, so we kind of live on these odd 3-monthly cycles where we get a positive scan, and you know, you're up for a week thinking, you know, you're floating on air, and then the worry starts kicking in the closer you get to the next scan, and then you have the scan, and then it's usually 3 to 5 days before the oncologist gives us a ring and gives us the results. So yeah, we're in a little bit of that tense window, but let's be positive. Let's always be positive. And just as I said that the weather was going to get a bit better, it's raining. Fantastic. We're proper into it now. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but I will put it in the screen. It's a beautiful castle behind that wall that you probably can't see if I look up, maybe just through those trees. Stunning property. What a beautiful spot there. Absolutely beautiful. Just as we meet the sea over there, the weather has properly come in, and I think it might be like this for the whole rest of the way. Megan's just called me and said the weather's terrible in Northern Ireland, and it's predicted to be terrible until late this evening, so it might be like this the whole way now. But you know what? There's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothing, and I've got the right clothing on, ish, and I've got 3 hours on the ferry where hopefully I can relax and my jacket can dry. Well, it always feels good to see the sea. So Holyhead has just appeared on the signs there. So it's on this route, 40 miles, but I'm going to do an extension, so I think it's about 60 something, and at least in this tunnel it's not raining. I believe we go over a really nice bridge, the name of which I can't recall. I will put it on the screen. This whole channel is just me not really knowing where I'm going and what I'm talking about. But we go over a really lovely bridge, and that's when my detour begins through wonderful landscape. Look at this, stunning. So there's something fitting about the weather being like this along craggy coastline. And if you've got the right bike and the right clothes on, it's not a drama. There you go, get the cruise control on, 65. 65 seems to be the best speed for not hooning it and also not going too slowly, but also getting the best fuel economy. Because I've got 49.4 so far on this trip, so I should easily be able to get to Holyhead from my house on one tank, which is just over 200 miles, which isn't bad at all. Another tunnel. Oh, might be a visor open time. Ah, there we go. so much coming up that it's been... Obviously when I get to Ireland I'll be reunited with Meg, so I only saw her yesterday, but you know, it's always good to see her. We've got 10 days over here because then my touring starts in anger. I've got the orchestral tour with Go West, straight into Holly Johnson rehearsals and production rehearsals, and then off to Germany, and then straight back to the UK tour, and then I've got some dates in with Tony Monrell after that as well, so it's all sort of landed almost perfectly in the diary in terms of consecutive going from tour to tour. But it does mean I will be sort of away a lot over the upcoming summer, so it's so nice to get out on the bike and spend time with Megan and her family, because the pace of life is just a lot slower over there, and it's lovely before all the craziness starts. So we're just coming up to the bridge where this road goes straight to Holyhead, as you see there on the sign, 21 miles. But I'm not going to do that, and I will keep the camera running. I'm just going to keep the camera running, sorry, for all of that loop, because it's all coast road. Looks like it should be lovely, so we shall see. Worst case, a lot of it hits the cutting room floor. Best case, we capture some magic moments, magic scenery. Certainly not any magic chat, dearie me. Look at that for a Welsh word. Wow. It's a bastion of consonants, isn't it? Here's the Britannia Bridge. I wonder how old this bridge is. I shall have a look on Wikipedia and put some notes in on the top corner. But it's a lovely old thing. There's a nice statue down there as well. I wonder what that is. Okay, so I don't know whether you can see the map that well, but the A5025 is the circumference road that I'm going to be taking. Satnav's going to probably go mental and want to take me back, but I just need to stick to that. Oh, keep the bike upright on those metal slats. Is this it? It is. Called it a bit late there, but that's it. A5025. Let's go. Oh God, I can smell freshly fried bacon from somewhere there. Wow. It's one of the best smells in the history of smells. Frying bacon. And that's a smell I'm probably going to smell a lot over the next 10 days in Northern Ireland, because bacon is a staple. So I'm going to need to counter that with some long walks and lots of water. I made quite a half-hearted effort at losing a little bit of weight before the touring, which hasn't really gone to plan, what with all the other stresses and strains going on, but I know I'll be good and train while I'm on tour, because the worst thing is when you see pictures come back or any video and you're like, oh, I look like a blob. That sounds like vanity, and maybe it is, but yeah, if I can be a little more svelte, I'll feel better, and therefore you feel a bit more confident, and then you play a bit better, you strut your stuff a bit better. Sort of becomes a bit of a snowball effect. Just had some new brake pads fitted to this before this journey. Thanks ever so much to Ian at Chasman's in Kings Norton in Birmingham for sorting that out at quite late notice, and to Dan for fitting them. Really appreciate that. But the brake feel, it's funny, I've changed. I was on organic pads before, I believe, and now I'm on, is it sintered they're called? Kind of race spec pads, and the stopping power, I still need to bed them in. Stopping power is obviously better, but I think I'm still at that point where I'm cleaning the residue of the old pads off the disc. The brake feel is quite different. The stopping power, I think if you were to measure the stopping distance, is exactly the same, but the feeling on the lever's a little different. The progression's a little different. No worse, but just different. So it'll be interesting after this island trip to see how that has bedded in and changed. Trust me to get stuck behind a bloody van on a road like this. The road surface is terrible. If you catch that bit of, if you catch too much throttle on a bit of lean on that, I don't think you come off, but the traction control definitely intervenes and makes it a bit of a hairy experience. Past the van, God for that. Person definitely not pulling out again. No, we're good.
landmines here, and I can tell why, because I've been blown all over the place. But absolutely stunning roads. You can just get a really nice flow and just relax. All the corners are sort of similar speed profiles, so you can just leave it in gear. I'm in 5th and just rolling around. Beautiful. There's the ferry, or a ferry. Mine's the Stena one with the red funnel over there, if you can see. And I'm definitely going to get fuel before getting to Ireland the other side, so I can just not worry about it over there and just get on up from Dublin to Belfast. What a beautiful old train station. So we are vehicles, second exit, Stena line. Here we go. I wonder if I can get in a bit earlier. Yeah, here we are, Stena line, cars and coaches. Because I am very early, which is always a good thing. Let's see. This is where earplugs are a real pain in the arse. And my passport's in my bag, not in here. Shocker all round, let's see. Hopefully we can get on, get the bike secured, sit down and have a cup of tea. I'm really glad I filled up here because it's just so much easier. So when we get off the ferry, there's no hunting for fuel. Just bomb it up the motorway, up to Belfast. Right, let's give this a go. Hi, how are you? David DeAndrade. D apostrophe. Perfect. How easy was that? Terminal 5. Thank you so much. Well, that couldn't have been any easier if we tried, could it? Right, Terminal 5. I think, does she mean Bay 5? Maybe, don't know. We'll see. It's the police here. Someone's having their van completely searched. Oh, it will be Terminal 5, won't it? This is just based for the police to have a nosy. We'll see. I think it might be an engine off job, this. This fellow with the glasses on his head keeps looking back at me like they want to go through my bag. I have a feeling. And I'm not going to risk getting told off for having the camera on, so let's get through this. I'll see you on the other side. I'm through. Absolutely no dramas at all. So, Terminal 5 I'm heading to. That was so easy. What's your name? David Bosch. My name's not David Bosch, but I said my name's David. They had me up on the system, through I went. They did have a quick look around my bike. The dog sniffed my leg. Job's a good one. I'm through. This would be such a badass track if it wasn't 20. And the waters are still and everything. When the weather was crap this morning, I was thinking, oh god, is it going to be a rough crossing? Because I had horrific seasickness on a gig going from Amsterdam to Newcastle once. So sick that I vomited in the sink in my room. It was the first thing I could get to. That then subsequently blocked and filled up. Oh, loose gravel, always a favourite with a biker. Which then filled up. And then the sea was so rough that it all sloshed out onto the floor. So that was a wonderful evening, and I was worried that there might be a repeat of that. But it is like a mill pond, and the weather is stunning. Oh god, hang on, this is Terminal 3 entry, and I wanted Terminal 5. I've just been following that car. Let's go back, shall we? Back down to here. And I think, yeah, Terminal 5's down there. I am completely going the wrong way, but it's not like it's busy, is it? There we go. Terminal 5 is here. Ta-da! Oh, and I've done it again! They're both Terminal 5, but I want... Yeah, the guy's waving at me. I want cars, don't I? Having a shocker here, whilst I'm waxing lyrical about how lovely the summer sun is, and the vomity cabin. Row 3. 503. Oh, right down to the end. Look at that. Premium. Bosh! Oh. This has really worked out. Look at that. There we go. I might actually get off. There we go. Let's take my earplugs out, give my ears a bit of a break. See you when we're loading on. Right, let's go. I'll follow these boys who have obviously done it before. That's the new 1300 GS. He had a 1250, but he wrote it off. And didn't injure himself at all, which is miraculous. He said, have you ridden onto a ferry before? I said, no. He said, be careful, because sometimes the ramps are just sheet metal, and if you put your leg down thinking it'll catch you, you'll slip, and that's not the one. Which, yeah, break a leg, as it were. Look at this, sheet metal wet. Absolutely mental. Oh, I can feel it under the front. At least we're going to a drier area. So where are we going? Oh, there's tie down points, right. Right. I think in between those two things, there's the tie down points. Let's give that a go. I think that's what she means. Come on, go into neutral, please. There we go. Centre stand there. There's the... There we go. Right. I am gonna lock my helmet up here. Let's definitely do that. I'm loving the ratchet straps. Look at that. That ain't going nowhere. Right. See you aboard. Bloody hell, the spare propeller blades there. Right. Let's get out of here. This is so slippy, it's mad. Whoa. Onto the hard stuff, let's go. Oh, thank God for that. 1300 GS and a, what is it? 1290 Super Adventure KTM. Nice bikes, nice lads. Bloody hell, that's slippy. And we're off. We're out. .18 miles to Belfast. Well, we're just a bit north of Belfast in a town called Ballyclare. And there's going to be a hot bath. Oh, can't wait for that. And I think my mother-in-law will have cooked up something, probably some monster sandwich for me, which would be stunning. Right, what's going on here then? And we're out. Now, 40 kilometres. What the bloody hell is that in miles an hour? Got a little bit of that to do. The weather's nowhere near as bad as A, it looked when we were sailing in, and B, that it said on the forecast. But I suppose it's very easy to speak too soon. Just taking me city centre rather than the toll tunnel, and actually, let's do that because how often am I here? Let's do that. Do you know, the ferry crossing was great. I mean, it's nothing special, but I had a relatively comfy seat and a plug socket, which is sort of all I need, really. And it's only 3.5, 3 3/4 hours. It ran late, so I'm in about half an hour, 40 minutes late, but I'm not really in any rush, let's face it. And thankfully, I think actually the masterstroke is through being later, the weather's better. So that's worked out. Or am I going to end up stuck in this box? No, I'm going to do this. There we go. What a cheeky monkey. So this is Dublin. I'm not going to see that much of it, obviously. I'm going to just ride out, and we're heading on the motorway north. I've done enough scenic semi-twisties today, and this part of the journey is just about getting to my super club sandwich and hot bath now. Woke up at 6 this morning. It's now 8. So it's been a relatively long day. I suppose lots of people would call that a normal working day, but I've only really ever noodled about on my guitar for a living, so I may not be accustomed to the super long day vibe. Oh, it might be heated grip moment, you know. Let's do that. It gets a bit darker, I'll put the fog lights on, the Thunderbird 2 lights. And tomorrow is the beginning of a new adventure, riding to Donegal. We're staying at a kind of, what would you call it, a kind of green energy glamping yurt retreat thing. I'm really looking forward to the ride over, because obviously Megan and her family are going too, so it means I can be the ultimate bougie non-adventure rider, and all my bags and heavy stuff goes in the car, and I can just ride that route like I'm popping to the shops, and that'll be wonderful. I've got a nice restaurant booked. Oh, Vincenzo's, there we go. Nice restaurant booked for the evening. There's a log burner in the yurt to keep you warm, and it's right by a lake, or a loch, I think they call it. Yeah, it's going to be delish. It's going to be great. Can't wait. And I will, of course, be filming for the ride. I think, do I go like this? Yes, I do. It's a bit confusing. Right, let's go. This looks a bit more like it. Heading north, directly north. I can see by the compass, and I'm on a relatively main road. That is progress. And we're joining a motorway here, the M50, which I believe, if my memory serves me well, is called of the M25 of Dublin, the kind of circular. And I believe that is the exit to the tunnel that I didn't go in. That would make sense, wouldn't it? There we go. I'm going to guess the speeds a little bit. I'd probably need 160, isn't it? So, great. I know that. Middle lane, Belfast, let's go. I need one of those conversion printouts to stick on the screen. Or I could just learn them and know how to do maths, but that's probably less likely. this might be a bit more of a boring slog, so I'll see you a bit further on up the road. One thing I really do notice is the moment you get out of the UK, just the level of traffic on the roads, be it Spain, non-city Italy, more rural Italy, Ireland, almost anywhere, the level of traffic is so much less. It's so nice. Because if this was the M40 going from London to Birmingham now, it'd be heaving, absolutely heaving. And look at this. Came to a toll booth, I've got my phone ready. You can't use your phone. It's either cash or actual card, and my card is in my bag. So I've had to get off and glove off and get the card out, and while people are queuing up behind me, which is always good. But I'm through. I don't know why you could do contactless card, but not phone. What's that all about? Anyway, 34 miles on here until I think it becomes the M1 in Northern Ireland. Maybe that's the border. Don't know. But we're making good progress. I mean, look at this. It's a weekday evening, and the main road between two capital cities, and it's empty. Unbelievable. I love it. And there we are, into Northern Ireland, into the United Kingdom again. It was suddenly just displaying a national speed sign and said, "Welcome to Northern Ireland." Here we are. One step closer. We're coming up to Banbridge here, which is where the Game of Thrones studios are. It's where a lot of it was shot, other than the obvious bits that aren't Northern Ireland, but all the bits that could be Northern Ireland are, if you know what I mean. But the studios are there. One of the location scouts was apparently drinking in Belfast, having been a bit stumped as to finding somewhere good to set up a studio to shoot, because obviously there's some tax incentives and all sorts for shooting in Ireland, I believe. And he was in a pub, and he got chatting to the person next to him at the bar, as you do when you're in Ireland, and said, I'm a location scout and I haven't been able to find anywhere. And the guy went, well, I own a disused farm, was it, or a disused industrial estate, something like that. Why don't you come and have a look tomorrow? And the rest is history, and that's where Game of Thrones was shot. Not that you're going to see it in the dark tonight, but yeah, round here. Temperature's dropped quite substantially now. It feels, what is it? Yeah, we're down to 6 degrees. I can definitely feel it. Might be time to deploy the heated seat, dare I say. Don't know whether you can see on the camera or not, but it is properly raining again now. Oh, the joys of travelling by motorcycle. Do you know, I'm going to put it out there, I love it. I love it. I love the fun, I love the mild adversity, because it's not adversity in the real sense, but I like it. I like riding in inclement weather, as long as it's not ice, because that's when you start having an absolute shocker. But I can do rain. I've got the right kit on, so I'm not soaked. Right, we've reached the point now where I really know where I am, which is good. As in, if the sat-nav exploded, I could get there from here, which is always a good feeling. And here we are, 2 miles away. That is the longest journey I've done on a bike, longest bike day. And I am loving every minute of it. What I will say is, that sandwich is calling me. My bed is calling me. It's got another long day on the bike tomorrow. there anything better than this? I'll catch you on the next vid.
The English silent rascal arriving. It's the English silent rascal.
Come on in, Birdie.
Okay,
Come on in, Birdie. Loads of room.
Under the carport.
Oh.